Hi, everybody. I have Dr. Narissa Bauer with me today. Hi, Narissa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here with you, Mary.
Well, I'm honored to share the time. So, you do some interesting things. So, I would love to hear about your expertise, your coaching that you're doing with, tell me, parents and pediatricians and all kind of things.
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. I'm a behavioral pediatrician by training,
Okay.
and often get a lot of questions like, well, what is that?
Yeah. What
And
is that? Right.
yeah, well, I tell parents that I'm a pediatrician. I went through the standard training that you do. But then
Gotcha.
after I finished my residency, I went on and did a specific clinical year with my mentor, Dr. Marty Stein at University of California, San Diego. And at the time that I was doing it, he was actually sitting for the new boards, developmental
Okay.
behavioral pediatrics. So he was getting grandfathered in and all of that. But specifically, what that means is I tend to work more closely now with families who have kids who learn and behave differently, might have some unique challenges at home and school. So what that boils down to are kids with ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, anxiety, depression, school problems, and then overall parenting issues.
Wow. Well, as a mom of four, I'm sure I could have used you throughout the years. My youngest is in high school, so we made it this far without that, but I'm sure that would have been helpful. So I'm so thrilled to hear that subspecialty. That just sounds like a treasure,
It
for
is
parents that
needed.
are trying to figure things out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat. And you have a YouTube channel, right? So if people want to kind of learn some things, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I launched a YouTube channel where I have a lot of informational videos. There's a series called Quick Chats with Dr. Bauer, where I provide some just short segments on things like how to talk to kids about anxiety, what to do after an ADHD diagnosis. Don't forget that kids with ADHD are just normal kids. Just a lot of fun topics like that. And then I
Nice.
also host a weekly Facebook Live show that I started in January during the pandemic because two things. One, my mission was to break down the stigma around behavioral health issues. I wanted people to gather and talk about it so that we can normalize it, but also get that information out there to families, educators, and providers.
Yeah.
Since January, I've invited a bunch of different folks onto my show. We talk about anything from yoga and mindfulness in kids, art therapy, executive functioning in kids, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about resiliency in kids.
I
So it's
love it.
hypnosis. So just a lot of fun topics that I think folks need to know about. And then selfishly, I'm an extrovert and I needed to have some connection. So I wanted to sort of catch up with people and, just showcase all the wonderful work that everybody's doing in the mission of sort of just serving families who need this help.
I love that. And what a year it's been for families, right? Especially
Oh
with
my
kids
goodness.
with school, school age kids, like just unbelievable, right? Like
Yes,
people,
especially kids with who learn differently, who need those supports, who have
yeah,
IEPs, 504s, and then when they're learning remotely, how does that look? And
yeah.
it's just been really hard for a lot of kids.
I feel like a lot of parents and kids should just have a badge that they made it through. Like
Oh,
they've made it this
yes.
far and just
Yes.
celebrate the end of the school year because it's just been such a year for teachers and I'm sure pediatricians and parents and
And
kids
parents.
and
I
just
actually saw
everybody.
something on social media somebody posted, which I reposted because it was so great. It said something like, teachers, don't forget that at the end of the school year, when you're celebrating all the recognition and the high honor roll kids and all the neurotypical kids, don't forget to just reach out to every other kid who struggled and had to climb Mount Everest to just finish. And I
This
thought,
year.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. We have to
Yeah.
celebrate everybody getting to the finish line.
Just being here and getting through the school is just a huge accomplishment for so many
Yeah.
people, I would say, huh? Yeah. Well, that's neat. I'm glad that you guide families and kids through this. And that sounds incredibly important. I could have used you so many times over the years.
And unfortunately, there's not enough of us. But again, I think that's why my weekly Facebook Live show highlights just different ways to get that help. Sort of thinking outside the box, right? Like
Sure.
usually people are like, oh, I have to get therapy for my child. But the wait lists, unfortunately, are so long right now because
Yeah.
everybody has been stressed and we've lived through and we're living through, obviously,
Yeah.
the pandemic. And we're going to be dealing with the negative effects for a long time. However, there are other alternative ways like taekwondo, martial arts, art therapy, I mean, hypnosis. So there's so many different ways to get that needed boost for self-esteem, work through some of those issues. So again, that's why I love doing that show and
Just
just highlighting that.
just opening doors to different
Yep.
possibilities. Yeah, new
Yep.
possibilities. Well, that's the great thing about coaching, I think, is it just helps people, just open, maybe see, it's the same child there, but just new perspective of some ways to make their days more fun, or like you said, so that they feel powerful. I love it. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So we will link in the show notes about how folks can follow you and your Facebook, group, your lives and your YouTube channel, so that if they want to watch and learn, you provide all those opportunities, huh?
Yes, and I hope
Yes.
that they will follow, subscribe, and again, if you catch an episode and you're like, some so and so would really benefit, please share because again, I
Yeah.
think it just is helpful to just spread the information.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. A lot of parents, kind of share like those kind of resources. So that
Yep.
is such a nice thing. So if you now that you're learning about Dr. Bauer's expertise, you can, watch her videos and share at any level, right? So I hear a lot of, in my patients, I hear like grandparents who are worried about their grandkids, parents worried about their kids, teachers worried about the, there's so many people
Yes.
concerned about the kids. So I love these resources. So thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, and I guess I'll put in one more plug. I also do a
Yes, please.
parenting book club because before COVID, I
Oh,
used to run in-person parent workshops,
oh,
right?
neat.
But
Okay.
because of COVID, I couldn't do that anymore safely with social distancing. And
Yeah.
I pivoted in August of 2020 and
Yeah.
started pulling books off my bookshelf and
Nice.
then just
Yeah.
telling folks, hey, I'm going to read this. Anybody want to read along? And then I would post, in my Facebook group some prompts and then, start a conversation about it. And it's
Nice.
sort of evolved over the months. But now the past several, like past 3 or 4 books that we've read, I've actually done Facebook Lives with the authors. So they're kind of like book club chats.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so the readers who get to read and then they get to ask questions of the author, it's been a lot of fun. So again, that's
Oh,
another resource that if you
yeah.
come and follow my blog Facebook page, Let's Talk Kids Health, it's out there for anybody.
Let's talk kids health. Yeah. Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's super cool. I love when you get the authors and you get the
Oh,
insights
yes.
too.
It's so
Yeah.
fun.
That's neat. Well, thank you for all you're doing and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Mhm.